Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this special session of the Auburn City Council and our Auburn Economic Recovery Workshop. I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, while this is a workshop, it is also technically a City Council special session, and we clearly don't have a quorum at this time, but I will go ask the City Clerk to please take the roll.
Sure. So just for the record, I have Councilmember Amara, Spokely, and Dowden Calvillo absent. Councilmember Mackey?
Here.
And Mayor Berlant.
And I am here as well, thank you. And the other, a couple others may join us later as their availability allows. We'll start here with public comment. This is the time for anybody to provide an item to the council on an item that is on the agenda. I'll first start to make sure nobody here on the call has any public comment. City Clerk, anything from the general public comment provided to us ahead of time via email or telephone?
I am double checking right now. I do not have public comment for this meeting.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Then let's go ahead and dive right into the workshop. So the first item here for our economic recovery workshop is the health and emergency response update. Myself and our city manager just got off with our county's HHS director, Health and Human Services director, that is, with the other local mayors and city managers, and a quick update on where we are with COVID-19. There have been just over 1,500 positive cases within Placer County. They are reporting just over 1,100 that were likely recovered. 56 people are in the hospitals within Placer County, but it's important to note that out of that 56, only 22 of those are Placer County residents. Now, that's important for the health of our community, but also it doesn't really matter when it comes to how the state looks at our hospitalization capacity, and we can talk about that momentarily. There are also 11 people in the ICU. This past week, if you've looked at the numbers, Sunday there was a record number of new cases, 83. That was the highest that the county has seen since this pandemic. This Thursday, we saw the second highest of 52. So it definitely spiked, kind of went back down to in the 40s, which is where it's been the last week or so. And then again, a little spike on Thursday. 2 new deaths to report. I'll note that both of those demographically were in the 50 to 64 year old range, but it was noted that both had pre-existing medical conditions that likely contributed to their passing. So again, we mourn their deaths, 2 more. That brings us to a total of 13. Real quick, if you didn't notice, there was some rumors and even some misreporting last night related to the state's status on the monitoring list. Despite those media reports, Placer County does remain on the state monitoring list. Right now, there are 2 indicators that keep us on the list. One of those is ICU capacity, required to be, we're required to have ICU capacity above 20. And right now it's hovering about 11%, meaning there's only 11% of the ICU beds available within Placer County right now for new patients. The second indicator that we have met the threshold is our case rate of over 100 cases per 100,000 residents. And we are somewhere around the range of 120, so just a little bit over that. And so while the ICU capacity does fluctuate, it was noted that, as well as the case rate fluctuates, our test positivity is very likely to be the third indicator to keep us on the list, even if those other 2 drop off. And specifically, that is the number of new cases within a 7-day period. The state requires us to stay under 8% in order to stay off the list. And as of today, we are at 7.6%. One of the reasons that caused some of the confusion, they noted that why the media reported that we were going to be taken off the list this week was the state had been incorrectly calculating our case rates. And so while that indicated we were going to come off, the county had been providing, and even their numbers on their dashboard showed differently. And so the state updated that calculation error, and that keeps us with the case rate that meets the threshold. So despite some glimmer of hope, we still remain on the state monitoring list. A couple updates quickly on testing that I wanted to mention to the group here is they're continuing to have challenges. I reported on this last week, delays in appointments. Right now, it takes on average a week to get an appointment at one of the county or the state testing sites. That's at Rockland Library and up in Kings Beach. And those test results average a 7-day result. However, they can go up to 12 days. We need 14 days after you first have symptoms that you likely will recover. So you can see that in almost 2 weeks it takes to get an appointment and to get your results. At that point, the testing really didn't matter. The other big issue the county is dealing with is the state is discussing cutting off funding in August. And so those 2 testing sites that are open to the public in Rockland and Kings Beach would likely end in August. And so how we continue to test individuals outside of the hospital and medical systems is a little bit up in the air. And then the county also, a big change that I think is important to note here, the county this past week kind of changed course, and with some of those issues and delays in testing, they are asking only residents that are symptomatic or are at risk to go get tested. Originally, they were asking for anybody and everybody in order to ensure that we, one, had a baseline, but also were meeting the state quotas of the number of tests that were proctored at each of these sites. And so the reason I wanted to really note that is, one, it should help make it easier for those that are symptomatic get a test if they can't get it through their doctor, which is the best and fastest route. However, if we're only going to test now symptomatic patients, it's very likely that our positivity rates will skyrocket. And so that will again push us over that 8% over a 7-day period threshold. So I know everybody, I threw a lot of numbers at you all, but if you have any questions on that, we can follow up for sure. So go ahead, Cheryl.
Daniel, I'm confused about the ICU beds. If we've only got 11 people in the ICU in the whole county, then how many beds are there if we're close to our limit?
So it's a great question, and let me see if I can actually pull up the exact number of beds. No, I don't have it here in front of me. The issue is that hospital capacity and ICU bed capacity is looked at as a total number. Most of those patients that are in both hospital beds and even ICU beds are non-COVID related. And so the capacity is just looking at available bed space for more COVID patients, but that 11 is just a fraction of those that are likely in the ICU for non-COVID related issues. So whether it's a medical emergency, a major trauma accident that puts you into the ICU.
So they count everybody. I see what you're saying. Okay, I got it now. Thank you.
It's just 56 beds and 11 ICU beds, but the hospitals have hundreds of other patients for other related medical conditions. And then one last thing, just to note, and Jackie, this might be one to make sure for your businesses. The county came out with some new guidance related to employer required testing. And their guidance to employers is to say that they should not be requiring employees to be tested after they have tested positive as a condition of returning to work. So let's say an employee tests positive, they are off work for 2 weeks to recover. Many employers have said, before you can come back at those 2 weeks, you need to come back and show us proof that you've tested negative. However, that's eating up against some of the testing capacity. So the new guidance for businesses is if you have an employee that tests positive, they should be off work, and after they have 10 days of 10 days from the first time they showed symptoms, they are good enough to return back to work. So I've even heard 2 weeks in the past, but the guidance that they released is 10 days from the day they went symptomatic, they should be allowed to return to work without a negative COVID testing proof. And then I've got a couple of things, but I'll save it here a little bit later about the grant program for business assistance. So that is the health and emergency update. Bob, is there anything that I missed from today's meeting or any highlights that you think we should make sure to cover? You're on mute though. Bob, you're on mute.
Sorry about
No problem. What you said probably was great.
that. No, I think you hit all the major parts, but from an organizational point of view, starting to expedite the ability to bring people back will help a lot. We just brought back an officer, but he had to wait for his second test to come back negative before he could come back in. This new criteria is definitely going to speed things up. His test took 8 days to turn around. So that's a big loss of time for each person that does get impacted by COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Welcome, Nina, to our meeting. Thank you for joining us. And for those who don't know Nina is the new president of the Old Town Business Association. So Nina, appreciate you joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Bob, you want to keep on going with city actions and
Congratulations,
services?
Nina.
Thanks. Trying to follow your footsteps, lady.
We had a very busy week working primarily with restaurants. We made sure that every restaurant that has a business license in Old Town and downtown got permitting paperwork. Right now in Old Town, Tio Pepe's, Crudo, and Ale House, they're all ready to go and up and running. In downtown, Edelweiss, Ninja Sushi, the Taqueria, Trapazze, Club Car, and Monkey Cat all have permits. Everybody's up and running except the Club Car, and as soon as they're ready, they're more than welcome to come on out onto the streets. Downtown is doing decorations of a lot of the outdoor dining opportunities. They are just starting today doing the physical work. We'll be decorating at Trapazze tonight. Public Works is out right now with April Maynard. She's picking out both, I think they're going to be going with the large stainless steel watering troughs and using them as large planters and as well as delineators. So those will be going up tonight. I think it'll really visually soften a number of the different areas where outdoor dining is going on, especially when they're on the street itself. We will continue to work with the different restaurants. Some have just jumped out and put up tables, and we're sitting down talking to them, getting them all set up and make sure that they're legal and that they don't have any problems down the road and that it's safe for all involved. As you had talked about a bit, Mr. Mayor, the city will be receiving another case or pallet of protective masks to be distributed to the business community. We do have a lot today, but I think with what we're seeing, that this is a situation that's going to endure for some time. I think the bigger stockpiles we have, the better. City Hall continues to remain closed. However, all employees are working. They're working on staggered shifts at home and in here at City Hall itself. We're open to the public on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays by appointment only. And so far it seems to be working again very, very nicely. We should go back to I believe, unless Amy's heard anything different, we should be going back to our PPE distribution schedule, the normal one, which is Wednesdays from 10 to 11. The mayor helped us this Wednesday with a rather large, a long day of, what were we, from 10 to 1. Is that, yeah, 10 to 1 in distribution. And Amy was doing it again today throughout the morning, making sure that everything got distributed out to every business that wanted it. So we'll be going back again Wednesdays, 10 to 11, unless the chamber would like to increase those operating hours for any reason. That is my report for today.
Okay, great. Thank you, and appreciate that. The next item on here is outdoor dining. Bob, you updated quite a bit, but I did want to get opportunity for Nina or Jackie or Cheryl, if you have any questions as well related to any of those efforts on outdoor dining and what we can do to keep pushing it. Though it seems like it is well underway. You drive through town and it is pop-up city everywhere, and excited to hear what the DBA is working on to kind of beautify them, because it's one thing for the next couple of weeks. We all know this world, but as it becomes kind of a temporary, permanent fixture, we don't want to have different colored easy ups in our historic districts cluttering some of that history. So eventually making it look a little more permanent seems to make sense. But Nina, Jackie, anything, questions or comments on the outdoor dining?
No, Bob was great he came down and met with me. We originally thought about closing Washington Street. Then when we met at the Business Association, the restaurants down there felt comfortable that there was enough outdoor seating for each of the places, that they didn't really want to close the traffic streets. So I think that's where we're at. I do agree, though, sprucing it up and one of the things in promoting that you can safely eat down there would be good. I have at our last OTBA meeting, as you know, the discussion came up over the planter boxes, and I like the metal better than the wood. So it's something that I actually, after this meeting, will be emailing out, because I think creating an ambiance is important, not just people, sitting outside. And that's something that we're really hit on. And on a side note, because my building, although it's not open, we do have 5,000 square feet of decking, and I have offered the restaurants in Old Town, if they wanted to do, like Carpe Vino has a membership, if they wanted to use it to do an outdoor dinner or something, that they were more than welcome to. So.
Very nice. Okay, appreciate that. Jackie, anything from the chamber?
No, we haven't gotten anything from anyone. I do have to say that just from an outsider's point of view, it's really neat to see all the different businesses working together instead of arguing with each other, which sometimes happens. But especially like the Monkey Cat and Healthy Habit, is that what it's called? That was really neat to see the other day, that they're giving up their space for this. It makes me happy to see everyone working together.
Yeah, for sure. Cheryl, did you have something as well to add?
I just wanted to ask Bob if he had talked to Josh or anybody at BCWA about the hand washing stations.
I have not yet. I wanted to get things kind of laid out so we know where it's going to be, and then I will do so. Because when we last talked,
great.
When you provided that information, we were still thinking we were going to have closed streets, and so they would be kind of a condensed area. The plan has changed and evolved.
Okay.
Well, Bob, we'll look forward
Thank
to
you.
an update though on if PC, there still may be some other places where that may still be needed. So appreciate that for sure.
Right.
Moving on to the next item here on the agenda, usage of public space for business. I know we've been working to get some of the non-restaurant businesses that are restricted from their indoor operations outdoors as well, specifically fitness, yoga, things like that. Bob, any updates you can report on the use of our parks and other outdoor spaces?
We've just approved a temporary permit for one yoga class to use it just next week. In the meantime, we're putting together a policy to have multiple similar type classes to be conducted out there, at least on a temporary basis. What I've been trying to do is pattern it against our recreation district and how they're handling similar classes. So we're not conflicting and we're not pushing people one way or the other. So we're trying to do that in tandem, make sure that we're running as parallel as possible. And if ARD is having good success with that, I think it's a good way for us to go as well.
So ARD is is working on finalizing some requirements of using ARD parks. Is there an idea of when that will be complete and able to be modeled after?
Well, I've got everything right now, so we're writing it up ourselves.
Okay. Okay.
So what we've done is given temporary access to anyone who has asked for the period of next week, and then we will have our policy in place by then.
Gotcha. Okay. Any comments or questions on use of public space?
I know that Ale House yesterday talked about using the fairgrounds to do something because they have their little group that gets together once a week and goes on hikes and does that type of stuff. So they're talking about doing something with the fairgrounds during the farmers market, like a little yoga session off to the side kind of thing. But that might be something to open up too, is stuff to do at the fairgrounds, because there's plenty of beautiful grass that Greg has worked very hard to create. So if they need grass space, then might be able to work out something with Dawn.
And Jackie, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a gym that is offering some small classes at the fairgrounds, correct?
That I don't know.
Okay, I thought I had saw that posted somewhere.
It's possible. I haven't heard about that one. He only gives us a portion of everything. But Allison had talked to me yesterday from Ale House about doing some yoga sessions at the fairgrounds.
Nice. Okay. Okay, good. Next item here on our agenda is the business personal protective equipment. Bob, you mentioned getting another shipment of PPE and the distribution that occurred this week. Jackie, anything from the chamber on PPE and even the availability for businesses to request more?
We have been telling businesses if they need more to keep requesting it. It does go out in our newsletter every week if people need it. We did have that big surge when the city sent out an email to all the businesses in Auburn. So maybe we were thinking about connecting with the county and maybe getting the Auburn area involved more too, and get those businesses told about it. But it sounded like I wasn't a part of it. It sounded like a big distribution after that city email went out.
Great. Amy, did you have anything to add here too?
No, we had added the additional hours today, which was helpful. I think we saw about 15 business owners. We still have a lot in stock, so make sure to have people sign up. People are telling their friends. It seems to be working out really well.
Jackie,
Yeah.
are you, I realize you're kind of playing multiple hats at the moment, especially until the next week or so when a acting executive officer or director gets appointed. But are you in contact, or is Allison in contact with Sherry Conway from the county, or is that something we can help kind of bridge together? Because she may have more contacts outside of the city for some of those North Auburn businesses that I know we are also supplying resources for.
I can get in contact with her. I haven't contacted her. I can ask Allison if she has. I don't think she has. But like I said, yeah, we need to get more of the county businesses involved. But we haven't been getting a few from our newsletter. Some people seem to miss it because it gets hidden in there. But I was planning on sending out another email blast just specifically about PPE so that it stands out better.
Okay, great. Anybody else have any questions or comments on PPE? Okay. Next item here is the Auburn Chamber of Commerce report. Jackie, what's going on at the chamber?
We are focusing a lot on the PPE. We're focusing a lot on transferring over to a more office time for me to get in there and figure things out. We are also doing ribbon cuttings, which is fantastic for the businesses. We had one yesterday at Ropers with their new owners, Lisa and Peggy. And thank you, Mayor Berlant, for coming and joining us for that. We are limiting the amount of people that can go inside if it is a small business. 2 weeks ago, we were outside at a nursery, so it worked out okay that everyone can enjoy all together. Next week, we'll be at the other Ropers ribbon cutting for their other location. And I believe we have a couple more coming up in August. So it's exciting to get out there and talk to the businesses and spread the word on social media about them, because people don't always know what's going on when they aren't as visible anymore.
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Jackie in the chamber?
Jackie,
No,
are you?
just- Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie, for all you do. I've got one quick question for you though. So you're still posting and getting things out there, right? And social media and all that?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm doing a thing and I'll send it to you. Because I feel bad for the nonprofits that have been hit pretty hard. So we're looking at doing kind of, again, because I have such that space, like a drive-through where we're going to donate food. People can buy dinners, pick them up, take them home, or sit and relax a little bit and raise the money for the nonprofits. So far, I think I have the Senior Center, Healing Pastures, Young Life scheduled. So I'll get that scheduled to you, and if you'll help us
Yeah.
promote it, that would be great. I just think it'd be a really cool community thing too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw that Senior Center one. That looked fantastic. And you
Okay,
guys
yeah,
have
the noshing for nonprofits, yeah.
Yeah.
So all of you
Don
have to
Marie
mark your calendars. We're gonna do those a couple Thursdays each month, just to help
Okay.
out these nonprofits that can't hold their fundraisers right now.
Yeah, and you guys have such a great open space outside for people to safely gather and eat and drink and listen to music. I really enjoyed seeing that the other day from Don Marie, so I'm excited.
Okay, great. And Bob, just so you let you know, I think the first Thursday or the second Thursday in September is gonna be New Orleans style of food, and I know you love New Orleans, so.
Very nice. That did remind me, Jackie, is the chamber connected with the county related to the Placer Shares program yet?
That I do not know. That I would have to refer back to Allison for that. I haven't heard about it.
Okay, today Bob and I got a little preview, just a heads up that the Placer Shares program will be a grant program through the CARES funding the county received. They've put aside $8 million, $7 million to businesses, $1 million to nonprofits. And the staff are bringing to the Board of Supervisors next Tuesday at their meeting kind of the bones and the skeleton of what that program will look like and what that process will look like. But they did mention either would be or have been working with each of the city's chambers on getting that out. So
I believe, talk to someone a couple weeks ago. It was probably about 2 weeks ago about where we felt the businesses that most needed help was. And we had a conversation. She was going to get back to me when they had more information to send out. So she didn't tell me that's what it was called, but she did tell me about the grant program.
yeah, so we might have more at our next meeting then based on what they release next week. So yeah, apparently it's called the Placer Shares program.
Yeah, no, it was a neat, what she showed me, the different levels and within each level. And she was just getting my feedback on what we felt was the best place to put the money.
Great. And it was made clear that the money will be available to not just unincorporated businesses, but businesses within each of the cities as well. So
yes,
we'll have to pay attention to that. So, okay, business association reports. Nina, you are it today, but anything for the Old Town Business Association?
No, I think, like I told you, we had a really good first meeting, got a lot of people there. I share Jackie's sentiment. It's really cool to watch everybody, you know, come together. Sometimes that's what a crisis does. Just gonna start working through some of the longstanding issues and look forward to partnering with everyone. I think the board's really enthusiastic, and we're just kind of excited to start, even in this tough time, really start moving.
Great, thank you, and thanks again for joining us. That concludes the items that we had on the agenda. Again, it's kind of a short group and a short meeting, but any round robin or go to the order from anybody else that you'd like to bring up or discuss? Okay, seeing none, then we'll go ahead and conclude the meeting and get back together. Again, it's okay if they're short and quick, just gives us an opportunity to kind of touch base with where we are. Again, I do hope that we could talk more about the Placer Shares program and some of that grant money at our next meeting and get that information out. So we'll get back together here Friday, June 31st at 2 p.m. Unless something comes up before then. So otherwise, thank you very much, everybody. And I will go ahead and call the meeting to conclusion here. Thank you.
thanks, Mayor.
Bye, everybody.